So you all know the components of a reflex arc. So this is the receptor organ. In this case, it is a muscle. From there, we are having the afferent, a sensory nerve. So this is the center, the spinal cord. From there, we'll be having the efferent, which is a motor nerve, which goes and ends in an effector organ. I think these things will be very thorough in your lower classes itself. Okay. To understand in detail about muscle spindle, muscle tone, you have to be thorough with the structure of muscle spindle. So this is a bit tough topic, a little bit confusing topic also. Let's see in detail. Muscle spindle, otherwise called as cone spindles. Okay, these muscle spindles are special organs which are present in almost all skeletal muscles. They are the major proprioceptors. Okay, they are abundant in muscles which carry precise movement. Okay, these muscle spindles are more abundant in muscles which carry precise movements. So the muscles which are doing precise movements, like muscles of our fingers, okay, facial muscles, etc. There they are abundant. They are less prominent in muscles. They are less in number in muscles which are less prominently involved in posture regulating muscles. Okay, like our muscles of the back. Okay. Now going to the histology or functional anatomy of muscle spindle. So we'll take this as one skeletal muscle. Example, some biceps or triceps. That's the entire muscle. Portion of each muscle, each skeletal muscle, there will be a capsule. There are a few fibers present inside the capsule and a few muscle fibers present, many muscle fibers present outside the capsule. Like this. So these are just rough diagrams for your understanding. Don't reproduce this in your exams. You follow your book diagrams. So this is the capsule. So these are the fibers inside the capsule. These fibers are called as intrafusal fibers. Okay. The fibers outside the capsule are called as extrafusal fibers. Okay. So for latecomers, I am repeating again. Muscle tone is defined as the partial state of contraction which is seen in a resting muscle, or it can be alternatively defined as resistance offered by a muscle for stretch. So the major proprioceptor present in our skeletal muscle is the muscle spindle, otherwise called as cone spindles. They are present in almost all skeletal muscles. They are the major proprioceptors. They are abundant in muscles which are involved in doing precise movement, like muscles present in our fingers and facial muscles. They are less in number in muscles which are less prominent. Example, muscles of our back. Coming to muscle spindle, in each skeletal muscle, the middle portion, there will be a capsule. The fibers inside the capsule are called as intrafusal fibers. The fibers outside the capsule are called as extrafusal fibers. The intrafusal fibers along with the capsule is together called as the muscle spindle. Okay. Now we'll go for innervation. Types of muscle spindle. Now, coming to extrafusal fibers. So these are the extrafusal fibers, what you have already discussed in your skeletal muscle chapters. Okay, they form the bulk of the muscle. They are more prominent. They are fibrous. Each fiber is very prominent. Their main function is contractility, motor function, contractile in nature. Coming to intrafusal fibers, they are very less in number. Example, each skeletal muscle will be having only around some 2 to 12 fibers. 2 to 12 intrafusal fibers per muscle. They are less prominent. They have two components. One is non-contractile component, which act as a sensory proprioceptor, and the other one is contractile component. Okay. So difference between extrafusal fibers and interfusal fibers. Extrafusal fibers forms the bulk of the muscle. They are more prominent, fibrous. They are mainly contractile. That is, they carry only motor functions. The intrafusal fibers are very less in number. You can enumerate them. Each muscle will having only some 2 to 12 intrafusal fibers per muscle. There are two types. They have two components: non-contractile part, which is mainly sensory, and the contractile motor part. Now going to the types of intrafusal fibers. This will be a bit confusing. Intrafusal fibers are of two types. First, we have a type of fiber which is dilated in the center, like bag-like appearance. This fiber is called as nuclear bag fiber. Okay. Then we have few nuclear bag fibers like this. Okay. Then we have nuclear chain fibers. Okay. These two are nuclear bag fibers. This is nuclear chain fiber. Okay, they are named based on their functional arrangement. In the nuclear bag fibers, the nuclei are arranged in the center, forming a bag-like dilatation. That's why they are called as nuclear bag fibers. In nuclear chain fibers, the nuclei are arranged in a chain-like fashion along the muscle fibers. So these are nuclear chain fibers. This is a nuclear bag fiber. This is nuclear chain fiber. We have two types of nuclear bag fibers. The first one is type 1 nuclear bag fiber, otherwise called as dynamic nuclear bag fiber. This is type 2 nuclear bag fiber, otherwise the static nuclear bag fiber. Okay, so these are the subdivisions of intrafusal fibers. We have nuclear bag fibers and nuclear chain fibers. The nuclear bag fibers are of two types. Type 1 nuclear bag fiber, that is the dynamic bag fiber. Type 2 nuclear bag fiber, that is the static nuclear bag fiber. Now, to understand the muscle tone, you have to be very thorough regarding this innervation. We'll come back here. Now, we'll take the muscle. So this is the skeletal muscle. This is the spinal cord. I am very poor in diagrams. You follow your book diagrams for your exam patterns. Okay. Now we'll see how the skeletal muscle is innervated. So from the descending motor pathways, these descending motor pathways will come and end in anterior horn cells. From anterior horn, okay, we'll be having two types of muscle nerve fibers. The first one is the alpha motor neuron. Okay, the alpha motor neuron, which starts from the anterior horn cell and goes and ends in extrafusal fibers. This is the alpha motor neuron. 70% of motor fibers are of alpha motor neuron category. Remaining 30% of afferent fibers forms the gamma motor neuron. Gamma motor neuron forms 30%. These are the two types of motor innervation to the muscle. So by whatever mechanism, either by the motor cortex or basal ganglia or cerebellum, wherever the motor pathway descends, this motor pathway, the motor signals are finally transmitted to the muscle fibers, only via this anterior horn cells. So the cells present in the anterior horn cells, this alpha motor neuron and gamma motor neuron, they are together called as final common pathway. Final common pathway for motor activity. Okay. Now, afferents go to spinal cord via three types of nerve fibers. We have 1A afferent, we have type 2 afferent, and from the tendons, we have 1B afferent. These are the three types of afferents which go and end in spinal cord, like this. So I am repeating again. So this is the spinal cord, this is the muscle. These are the descending motor pathways. The descending motor pathways via your descending tract, what you have studied in your physiology. Okay, the descending motor pathways will come and synapse in the anterior or ventral horn cells. Whatever may be the source of this motor pathway, before they supply the skeletal muscle, they have to go via alpha motor neuron or gamma motor neuron. So these two motor neurons starts from this anterior horn cells. So the cells from the anterior horn are called as final common pathway. We have two types of efferent. We have alpha motor neuron and gamma motor neuron. Similarly, we have three types of afferent starting from the muscle going and ending in spinal cord. We have type 1A and type 2 afferent, which portions. Now, coming back. Okay, so I told we have sensory innervation of muscle. In sensory innervation, we already discussed the muscle contains two types of sensory innervation, type 1A fibers and type 2 fibers. Type 1A fibers are called as primary fibers or primary afferent. Remember, one primary, two secondary. Type 2 fibers are called as secondary afferents. Okay, now we are going to discuss the sensory innervation of muscle spindle. Now we have this 1A fibers. The type 1A fibers will innervate all the three. Okay, it innervates the nuclear bag fiber, type 1 nuclear bag fiber, type 2 nuclear fiber, and also nuclear chain fibers. It innervates all the three types of fibers. Okay, the primary afferent 1A type of fibers innervate the dynamic nuclear bag fiber, static nuclear bag fiber, and nuclear chain fibers. You can see the nerve endings are coiled spirally around the fibers. So this 1A afferent are also called as annulospiral endings. Okay, type 1A fibers are called as annulospiral endings. Now coming to type 2 fibers, these type 2 fibers will not innervate the dynamic bag fiber. They innervate only the type 2 bag fibers and nuclear chain fibers. Okay, they end like this, like a spray. These endings are called as flower spray endings. Okay, so this is the afferent innervation. I am repeating again. So the intrafusal fibers are made up of two types of fibers. They have nuclear bag fibers and nuclear chain fibers. They are named because the nuclear bag fibers contain a bag-shaped structure in the center containing the nuclei. In nuclear chain fibers, the nuclei are arranged in a chain-like pattern. We have two types of nuclear bag fibers. Type 1 nuclear bag fiber or dynamic nuclear bag fiber. Type 2 nuclear bag fiber or static nuclear bag fibers. Now coming to sensory innervation of the muscle spindle, we have two type of afferent, 1A afferent and type 2 afferent. Otherwise, primary afferent endings, secondary afferent endings. This 1A afferent innervate all the three, type 1 bag fiber, type 2 bag fiber and chain fiber. The type 2 fibers innervate only the type 2 bag fiber and nuclear chain fibers. This type of innervation is very essential because using this type of arrangement, the muscle can send two types of sensations. First one is dynamic response. Second one is static response. Okay. So when the muscle starts contracting, gradually the length increases. The length shortens. There is change in length. Okay. Whenever the muscle is stretched or contracts, there is change in length. When this position is maintained, the length is maintained. Okay. Again, the length changes and comes back to its original position. Okay. You imagine the muscle shortens. Okay. During muscle shortening, there is a change in muscle length. Okay, there is a change in muscle length gradually. Then the contracted position is maintained for some time. There is no change in muscle length. Again, the muscle relaxes. Again, the muscle comes back to its original position. So this component is called as dynamic response. There is change in muscle length. Okay. Here there is no change in muscle length. This is a static response. Again, at the end of contraction, during relaxation, there is dynamic response. You understand what is dynamic response and static response? During the onset and end of contraction, there is dynamic response. When the contraction is maintained for a long time, there is a static response. For dynamic response, it is produced by both 1A and type 2 fibers. The static response is given only by stimulation of type 2 fibers. Otherwise, I am repeating again. During the onset and end of contraction, there will be afferent firing in both 1A fibers and type 2 fibers. When the contraction is maintained for a long time, type 1A fibers will not fire. Firing will be there only in type 2 fibers. This is static response. So for dynamic response, you need the activation of both 1A and type 2. For static response, only type 2 fibers will be firing. Now coming to motor innervation. So here we already discussed, we have two types of motor innervation to skeletal muscle. One is the alpha motor neuron and another one is gamma motor neuron. This alpha motor neuron is majority in number. They supply the contractile portion, that is extrafusal fibers. The remaining 30% gamma motor neuron fibers supplies the intrafusal fibers. So the major motor nerve to intrafusal fiber is gamma motor neuron. Again, we have two types of gamma motor neuron. We have dynamic gamma motor neuron. We have static gamma motor neurons. Okay, we have two types, dynamic and static. The dynamic gamma motor neuron, okay, supplies motor part only to the dynamic back fibers. Okay, the dynamic gamma motor neuron supplies motor fibers only to type 1 nuclear back fiber or dynamic back fiber. Okay, they end as small plates. These endings are called as plate endings. The static gamma motor neuron supplies fibers to static nuclear bag fiber and chain fiber. They ends as trails. Okay, they supply again. They go back. They supply some more fibers like this. Okay, they trails like this. These endings are called as trail endings. So we have 4 types of endings in muscle spindle. The primary, coming to sensory, we have 2 endings. Sensory is mainly via 1A and type 2. 1A fibers supplies the nuclear bag fibers, both the nuclear bag fibers and chain fibers. Okay, before ending, they coil and form spiral around the fibers. So they are called as annulospiral endings. We have type 2 or secondary afferents. They will not innervate the type 1 nuclear bag fiber. They innervate only the type 2 or static bag fiber and chain fibers. They end like sprays, so flower spray endings. Coming to motor innervation, the motor innervation to intrafusal fiber is mainly gamma motor neuron. We have 2 types of gamma motor neuron, dynamic gamma motor neuron and static gamma motor neuron. The static gamma motor neuron forms the trail endings and they supply type 2 bag fibers and chain fibers. The dynamic gamma motor neuron forms spade endings and supply the nuclear bag fibers type 1. Okay. Now we will see the summary. Okay, how the muscle spindle is innervated. So imagine this is the muscle. This is the muscle spindle. Inside we have the intrafusal fibers. And this is the spinal cord. Okay, so these are the descending motor pathways. The descending motor pathways, 70% of them comes and end in alpha motor neuron. This alpha motor neuron supplies the extrafusal fibers. Remaining 30% end in gamma motor neuron. This supplies the intrafusal fibers mainly at the terminal part. Now coming to sensory fibers, from the muscle spindle we have 2 types of afferent, type 1A and type 2 fibers. Both these fibers goes and ends in alpha motor neuron. Okay, they have direct synapse over the alpha motor neuron. Then in the end, the muscle end near the tendon, we have a special organ called as Golgi tendon organ. From here, from the Golgi tendon organ, we have a separate nerve fiber called as 1B fibers. These 1B fibers comes and ends in spinal cord. From there, we have an inhibitory interneuron. This inhibitory interneuron comes and ends in alpha motor neuron. Okay. This is the arrangement of muscle fibers and nerve fibers. I'll show you a good diagram in the book. Yeah. So you can see here, these are the descending pathways. The descending pathways will come and ends in the anterior horn cells. From the anterior horn cells, we have 2 types of motor neuron, alpha motor neuron and gamma motor neuron. So the majority of the fibers comes and ends in alpha motor neuron, 70% of fibers, remaining 30% in gamma motor neuron. The alpha motor neuron is a motor neuron to extrafusal fiber. The gamma motor neuron is a motor neuron to the muscle spindle. Okay. Now we will see stretch reflex. What is meant by stretch reflex? Stretch reflex is a major posture regulating reflex, otherwise called as myotatic reflex. Okay, stretch reflex is otherwise called as myotatic reflex. Is a major reflex regulating our posture. We have 2 types of stretch reflex. We have tonic stretch reflex, which regulates the muscle tone, and we have the phasic stretch reflex, which comes into action during your testing of reflexes, during activity, like muscle jerks. Okay. So what is stretch reflex? Whenever a muscle along, this is very important, along with its intact nerve supply is stretched, very important, within physiological limits. It goes for contraction. Okay, whenever a muscle along with its intact nerve supply is stretched within physiological limits, the muscle goes for contraction. We will see the circuit, how it goes for contraction. Okay. See, this is the muscle, the spinal cord. Now what happens if you stretch the muscle? Okay, if you stretch the muscle, there will be a change in muscle length. Due to change in muscle length, the muscle spindle will stretch. Okay. Whenever the muscle is stretched, there is a change in length. This will activate the muscle spindle. So the stimulus is stretch or change in muscle length. Receptor. Which organ is activated now? Muscle spindle. Okay. So whenever the muscle fibers and type. Okay, whenever the muscle is stretched, muscle spindle gets activated. This will activate the type 1A and type 2 fibers. This type 1A and type 2 fibers comes and ends in spinal cord. In the spinal cord, it directly synapses with alpha motor neuron. This alpha motor neuron supplies the extrafusal fibers. I am repeating again. Whenever a muscle is stretched, there is change in muscle length. This will activate the muscle spindle. Activation of muscle spindle, this will increase the firing in 1A and type 2 fibers. The 1A and type 2 fibers goes and ends in spinal cord. It ends on alpha motor neuron. This will activate the alpha motor neuron. Alpha motor neuron is a motor neuron to extrafusal fibers. On activation, the extrafusal fibers goes for contraction, otherwise the muscle contracts. So you can write this like a flowchart. So the stimulus is stretch or change in muscle length. Receptor is muscle spindle. Now afferent, type 1A and type 2 fibers, primary and secondary nerve endings. Center, spinal cord. Okay, the center is spinal cord. Okay, well, how many synapses are there? Number of synapses. You can see the afferent goes and synapse directly with the efferent. There is a single synapse. So this is the best example of a monosynaptic reflex. Okay, this is the best example for a monosynaptic reflex. What is the efferent nerve? Alpha motor neuron. What is the effector organ? Same muscle, that is extrafusal fibers. Okay. Response, muscle contraction. Okay, So stretch reflex is a very important 5-mark question. If you write like this with the adequate diagrams, you get full marks. Okay. So it is a major posture regulating reflex, which also may regulate your muscle tone. So there are two types of stretch reflexes. We have the tonic stretch reflex and phasic stretch reflex. Tonic stretch reflex regulates the muscle tone. Phasic stretch reflex is exhibited during our muscle activity along with during muscle jerk. In a deep tendon reflex test பண்றீங்க இல்லையா, all this deep tendon reflex comes under phasic stretch reflex. So stretch reflex is also called as myotatic. It is not tactic, it is tatic. So this is the definition of stretch reflex. Whenever a muscle along with its intact nerve supply is stretched within physiological limits, the muscle responds by contraction. So this is a circuit for stretch reflex. So the stimulus is stretch or change in muscle length. The receptor is muscle spindle. So whenever the muscle is stretched along with its intact nerve supply, it goes for contraction. So stretching the muscle spindle activate type 1A and type 2 afferents. The impulse goes to spinal cord. So there is a direct synapse between afferent and efferent. So it is a monosynaptic reflex. The efferent is an alpha motor neuron which comes and ends in extraphyseal fibers. The extraphyseal fibers are contractile fibers. So the efferent organ is again skeletal muscle with extraphyseal fibers. The response is muscle contraction. This stretch reflex is well developed in anti-gravity muscles. So what are the anti-gravity muscles? Mainly flexors of arm and extensors of lower limb. In these muscles, the stretch reflex is well developed. Okay. We have another one reflex called as inverse stretch reflex. Inverse stretch reflex, otherwise called as lengthening reaction. Lengthening reaction or autogenic inhibition. Okay, it is a protective reflex. Okay, it is a protective reflex. It prevents the muscle from being torn away due to excess tension. So whenever contraction is more, the tension will be very high. The tension is very high, the muscle has the capability to get torn away. This is prevented by the muscle's inherent mechanism called as inverse stretch reflex. So this is the circuit for inverse stretch reflex. So this is the muscle. At the end of the muscle, we have a special receptor in the tendon called as Golgi tendon organ. Okay, from Golgi tendon organ, we have afferents called as 1B afferent. This 1B afferent comes and ends in spinal cord. In the spinal cord, it comes and ends on an inhibitory interneuron. This inhibitory interneuron ends on alpha motor neuron. Okay, this is the circuit for inverse stretch reflex. Okay, as a continuity of stretch reflex, whenever the muscle is stretched, the muscle goes for contraction. Whenever the contraction is strong, there will be increase in tension. This increase in tension will be sensed by Golgi tendon organ. Whenever the Golgi tendon organ is activated, there will be increase in firing in type 1B fibers. Type 1B fibers will go and end on an inhibitory interneuron in spinal cord. This inhibitory interneuron will inhibit the alpha motor neuron. Inhibition of alpha motor neuron, the muscle goes for relaxation. As the muscle goes for relaxation, the muscle length increases. Lengthening reaction. Muscle relaxes. Okay, now we'll write the flow chart. So what is the stimulus? Stimulus is increase in muscle tension. For stretch reflex, the stimulus is change in muscle length. Okay, for inverse stretch reflex, the stimulus is tension. Receptor. Golgi tendon organ. Afferent 1B. Center spinal cord. Number of synapses. How many synapses are there? We have 2 synapses. The first synapse is between 1B fiber and inhibitory interneuron. Second synapse is between inhibitory interneuron and motor neuron. Number of synapses 2. This is a bisynaptic reflex or a polysynaptic reflex. Okay. The efferent is again the same. Alpha motor neuron, inhibition of alpha motor neuron. Effector organ, extrafusal fibers or skeletal muscle. Response, muscle goes for relaxation. Okay, this is inverse stretch reflex. Okay, either you will get stretch reflex or inverse stretch reflex or muscle spindle, one among the 3 in your university exam. So you have to be thorough with this. So I am revising the concept for latecomers right from the beginning. Okay, summing up, muscle tone is defined as a partial state of contraction present in a resting muscle or resistance offered by a muscle for stretch. Coming to muscle spindle, it's otherwise called as cone spindle. It's present in all skeletal muscles. They are the major proprioceptors. They are abundant in muscles which are involved in doing precise movements like muscles of our fingers and facial muscles. Now this is the gross structure of muscle spindle. So this is the full entire muscle. In the middle portion of each muscle there is a capsule. The fibers inside the capsule are called as intrafusal fibers. The fibers outside the capsule are called as extrafusal fibers. The intrafusal fibers along with the capsule forms the muscle spindle. So difference between extrafusal fibers and intrafusal fibers by the diagram itself will be clear. Extrafusal fibers are more abundant, they are more prominent, they are fibrous. Their main function is contraction. The intrafusal fibers are very less in number, they are less prominent, they are not fibrous, their active myosin content is very less. Okay, their main function is sensory. Now coming to intrafusal fibers, the intrafusal fibers are of 3 types. Fibers are again divided into type 1 back fiber or dynamic back fiber, type 2 nuclear back fiber or static back fibers. They are named based on the arrangement of their nuclei. Okay, in back fiber you can see the nuclei are arranged in backs. In chain fibers the nuclei are arranged in the form of chains. Now you have to understand the sensory and motor innervation. Coming to sensory innervation are of 2 types: primary 1A afferent, secondary type 2 afferent. Primary afferent supplies all the 3. Okay, at their ending they spirally coil around the fibers, so they are called as annulospiral endings. The type 2 secondary afferents, okay, they end like sprays, they are called as flower spray endings. Okay, the most important difference is primary afferent 1A afferent supplies all the 3 fibers, whereas the type 2 afferent supply only the static back fiber and chain fibers. This is sensory innervation. Coming to motor innervation, the motor innervation to muscle spindle is by gamma motor neuron. We have 2 types of gamma motor neuron: dynamic gamma motor neuron and static gamma motor neuron. Dynamic gamma motor neuron supplies only the dynamic back fiber. Static gamma motor neuron supplies static back fiber and chain fibers. Dynamic gamma motor neuron form 8 endings. Static gamma motor neuron forms trail endings. Okay, they trail. Okay. Now this is the summary of muscle innervation. Okay. So this is the spinal cord. All the descending motor pathways will come and end in the anterior horn cells. From this anterior horn cells, the motor common pathway. Okay, so the motor neurons supplying the muscle are of 2 types. We have alpha motor neuron and gamma motor neuron. Alpha motor neuron is a major type of motor neuron. 70% of motor neurons are of alpha type. They supply the contractile portion of the muscle, the extrafusal fibers. The gamma motor neurons are less prominent, 30%. They supply the intrafusal fibers. Now coming to sensory. Sensory afferent from the muscle are of three types. Type 1A and type 2 fibers starting from the muscle spindle, going and ending in. They directly synapse in alpha motor neuron. We have type 1B fibers which start from muscle tendon. They go and end on an inhibitory interneuron. The muscle spindle produces two types of responses, static response and dynamic response. Dynamic means during activity. So whenever a muscle shortens, okay, contract, during the beginning of contraction, during the procedure of contraction, and again at the end of contraction, the dynamic response comes. Okay, it contracts, goes and maintains a length, again it relaxes. During the starting phase and ending phase, we have dynamic response. During this phase, the afferent will be fired, activity will be seen in both 1A and type 2 fibers. Okay, during the maintenance of contraction, when the contraction is maintained, we have only static response. There will be afferent firing only in type 2. There will not be any firing in 1A. Now coming to stretch reflex. Stretch reflex is otherwise called as myotatic reflex. We have two types of stretch reflex. Tonic stretch reflex, which regulates the muscle tone. We have the phasic stretch reflex, which is seen during muscle activity while you are eliciting the tendon reflexes. Okay, this is phasic stretch reflex. Again, this is a definition. Whenever a skeletal muscle, along with its intact nerve supply, is stretched within physiological limits, the muscle goes for contraction. Again, we will just look out the flowchart for stretch reflex. So stimulus, whenever a muscle is stretched, so the stimulus is stretch or change in muscle length, the muscle spindle will sense it. The receptor is muscle spindle. Okay, the afferent is 1A and type 2 fibers. The center is spinal cord. Okay, the type 1 and type 2 fibers directly synapse with alpha motor neuron. So it is a monosynaptic reflex. The efferent nerve is alpha motor neuron. The effector organ is extrafusal fibers. The response is muscle contraction. Stretch reflexes are well developed in anti-gravity muscles. Now coming to inverse stretch reflex. Whenever a muscle goes for strong, powerful contraction, okay, there will be an increase in tension to the muscle. The muscle has the probability of being torn away. This ability, this capacity is protected. This is protected by inverse stretch reflex, otherwise called as autogenic inhibition or lengthening reflex. It is a protective reflex. Whenever the muscle contracts strongly, okay, whenever there is a powerful, strong contraction beyond physiological limits, there is increase in tension. This tension is directed by Golgi tendon organ. There will be firing in 1B fibers. This 1B fibers will go and end in spinal cord. This will activate the inhibitory interneuron. This inhibitory interneuron will inhibit the alpha motor neuron. Inhibition of alpha motor neuron, the skeletal muscle goes for relaxation. The muscle lengthens. Okay. Now coming to the end, there is a concept called as alpha gamma co-activation or alpha gamma co-linkage. Okay, so imagine this is the muscle, this is the muscle spindle, this is the alpha motor neuron supplying the extrafusal fibers, this is the gamma motor neuron supplying the muscle spindle. So whenever you need a precise, comprehensive, okay, well-controlled muscle movement, okay, there should both these two parts, both the intrafusal fibers and extrafusal fibers should go for contraction at a same time. Okay, whenever you are doing a voluntary activity or a precise movement, both alpha and gamma should contract at the same time. Then only a particular activity can be carried out. Okay, this is brought out by alpha gamma co-linkage or co-activation. So whenever you are eliciting a tendon jerk or whenever you are lifting something, both alpha and gamma motor neuron goes for firing. Okay, at the same time, both intrafusal fibers and extrafusal fibers are activated. We'll see what happens if the gamma motor neuron gets activated. The intrafusal fibers will go for contraction. The interfusal fibers go for contraction, that is change in muscle length. Activation of 1A and type 2 fibers. This activation of 1A and type 2 fibers, this will again activate the alpha motor neuron. So the extrafusal fibers goes for more powerful contraction. Okay, precise, more powerful contraction. This capacity is called as alpha gamma co-linkage or alpha gamma co-activation. Now, coming to the end, last point. What is the cause for resting muscle tone? We discussed in the first slide itself. Muscle tone is defined as the partial state of contraction present in resting muscle. What is the cause for this? Why the resting muscle has a partial state of contraction? This is the major reason for this muscle tonus. They will ask you in Viva. Should not forget this. Asynchronous gamma motor neuron discharge. I'll explain what is this. The major cause for muscle tone. Okay, the partial state of contraction resting muscle is due to asynchronous gamma motor neuron discharge. So the reason is, even at rest, the descending motor pathways will keep on activating. Okay, these fibers, these firings will not be synchronous like this. Sometimes the firing will be there, sometimes there won't be any firing. Again, sometimes the firing will be there. This is called as asynchronous. Okay, the descending motor pathways will keep on firing asynchronously at lower velocities. This will go and activate the gamma motor neuron. Okay, the asynchronous descending impulses will activate the gamma motor neuron. This gamma motor neuron will activate the intrafusal fibers. This intrafusal fibers will go for contraction. Okay, there is change in muscle length. This will activate type 1A and type 2 fibers. Activation of type 1A and type 2 fibers, this will activate the alpha motor neuron. Activation of alpha motor neuron, this will partly activate the extrafusal fibers. Activation of extrafusal fibers partly will result in partial contraction. Okay, so this is the cause for partial state of muscle contraction in a resting muscle. Even at rest, the descending motor pathways will discharge asynchronously at lower frequencies. This will cause asynchronous gamma motor neuron discharge. This asynchronous gamma motor neuron discharge will activate the intrafusal fibers. Okay, it's a motor neuron, no? Motor activation of intrafusal fibers, the intrafusal fibers goes for contraction. As there is contraction of intrafusal fibers, there is change in muscle length. This will result in activation of type 1 fibers, 1A fibers. Okay, this will activate the alpha motor neuron. Activation of alpha motor neuron, this will activate the extrafusal fibers. Activation of extrafusal fibers, the muscle goes for contraction. This contraction is not a complete contraction because not all the muscle fibers are activated. This will result only a partial contraction. This is muscle tone. Okay, so coming to the end, if you have any doubt, you can post the messages. I will clear. So this is my mobile number. If you have any doubt, you can WhatsApp me. Please send your feedbacks. Okay, 70105 97237. Okay, thank you.